Looked at several videos on the YouTube about how hard it is to get these wheels off this Peerless transmission. I wasn't actually even gonna take the wheel off because it'll pop out with the top, but I'm thinking there's a screw under there because I can't get it apart. Or there's a bolt holding it, I'm thinking. So I gotta take that wheel off. So one thing you always do is heat. Get it hotter. You got a little oil smoking. Now take a punch, and there's a divot in the center of this axle, and you see I've got this wheel supported, and then I've got a tire underneath to catch the tranny. Oop. Now I wonder if I'll be able to fix the tranny. There is the bolt. I was thinking it was this, but it's not. It's right here. But one thing I have noticed, if you try to take something apart like this and it won't come apart, see I got a part that much there and the same on the other end, it's probably still got a screw holding it, and it applies to just about every time you're taking something apart. It actually doesn't look too bad. Hasn't any water got into it. There's a zerk here. This is actually a grease. Fill that with grease to keep the water from coming in. This is where the axle is. You see it just migrates down to the rest of the axle. Here, there's the axle there. So what I want, but the problem is, so it looks like the tranny's okay, generally speaking, if I don't take it apart anymore. But I'll clean it up a little here. I'm not sure about, I might wipe some of that grease out and put fresh grease in. But the problem is this shifting yoke is broken. I don't know if I can get this part, but I can probably get a genius welder to weld it back on. The yoke moves this slider back and forth. And of course, I think it was bad shape when I got it, but it actually was working. I actually was the one that broke it, and I probably tried to shift when it wasn't in the right mode for shifting. But I don't think I think it was already weakened somehow for some, because I didn't, hit it that hard. I was fooling with it and piddling with it, and it really wasn't shifting, but one time it did go into reverse. That was my main problem. Plus that's the one you can really tell, because 1 through 4, if you go from 2 to 3 you can't maybe tell. But it did go into reverse once, but then never again. And then it stayed. It was in gear. And I says, I've got to have reverse because it's this thing here, and I want to mow in ditches and stuff. That's what it's for. And it's heavy. And you get down in a ditch where you can't go forward anymore, you need to be able to reverse. So I'm cleaning this transmission with diesel fuel, and the question is, will I be able to get it all back together correctly? This part here I did disassemble completely, but I was afraid to but I did that first, and then I was afraid to disassemble this one completely. And this is really the one that needs to be disassembled completely, because it's got the forks. This is the thing that moves back and forth. I think I will. I just need a system. But and then this one here I've also so far been afraid to do, but I have to do it. So I'm taking them out of there. First I clean this case, then I take them out of there and put them in this side. But and of course it's still kind of dirty, but the last thing I need to do is flush it with a fresh diesel, I'd say. So I took this apart. Where is it? Okay. Trying to dry the diesel off of it. These forks are the shifting forks, and they go under the gear. You don't have to engage the gear or disengage. They go under it, and then when the gear rotates to this place, then they pop out. And I think this was gummed up. That's why that shifter broke, trying to push this, but it was gummy with old grease. So when I took those off, as I took them off, I put them on this nail in the order and direction, which I didn't do that with that one. And also, these two here, these three really, I don't really know for sure. And also the spacers. But I think I can figure out the spacers. I'm hoping. As I'm doing this though, I'm thinking, I wonder if you can buy a rebuilt transmission for this thing. I think that's how it goes. I've got the, I think that's how it goes. I've got one O-ring left over. And this I'm not sure. I shifted it either way. I think I've got it right. Spacers, I think I've got them right. I had a hard time getting this put together because I think you have to get the gears lined up just the way they want to sit before you drop it in. Now I need my shifting yoke. That's the drive right there. The drive engages this. And then I need my shifting yoke, which goes where those holes are in that little ball. And clean that up. I'll clean that up, I guess, and put it back together. Part of the reason I want to do this is in a timely manner is because you get in trouble if you start, which I frequently do, get halfway done and then stop. And then when you go to pick it up again, you can't remember stuff. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say, I'm using this cornhead grease from John Deere, because that's what they say on the internet. It's a little bit thin, it seems like, but it's supposed to thin down when you're using it, so it lubricates and then thicken up so that it doesn't leak out. Oh, one other thing you need, I guess that's why they make nitrile gloves. Those vinyl gloves, it all just melted right through. I changed them frequently, but also I noticed at the end I was breathing those fumes. There's a breeze out here. None of this stuff's really good for you though. So I'm getting back after repair of my mower, which is suspended. The tranny, put the tranny back together. And then I wanted to talk about for a minute the part that broke. I talked to a welder, and he first he said he could do it, then he said he couldn't. I think you probably could, really, but I don't know if you would change the hardness of this material when you do that. You might end up being so soft, or you'd have to re-harden it. which I don't know. Heat it and quench it, I don't know exactly. But the thing of it is, the wonders of the internet, I was able to find one, which is just incredible, I think. This is it. There's a number here, 5405. This is 5458 P1, but oh shit, is it different? It is different. It's not the same thing. Crap. Well, is that going to matter? It's going to stick out of the tranny a little bit more. Boy, I just noticed that. I thought it was sailing home free. It's going to stick out of the tranny a little more. Other than that, it'll be alright. I guess it'll still work. I think at this point I'm going to try and install it in a... So right here is the shifting link. And it's here. So this goes there. And then this is going to go over there. So I've got enough play in it. I might be able to turn this thing upside down. I don't know. I'll just have to give it a try. In theory, you could cut this off, rethread it, and grind it and such. I'd like to avoid that if possible. And it must be sooner to weld this one. I'll try and install this and see what happens. See if it even works. Another thing I could possibly do is not use the shift linkage. Make a new shift linkage. It'd be easier to make a new shift linkage than it would be to drill that. One thing I do have to do is take the spring out. They didn't send me the spring or this part, which I'm not sure what that does, although you can, because it doesn't rotate. You know, this goes back and forth, but anyway, I'll change that out. So this is how that shift fork gets installed. I got to put a little ball on here to fit in there. I guess I'll set that ball on there and set this on top. I guess it'll be alright. This will go through here, stick through. I wonder if there's an O-ring or something. I think there's an O-ring in there or somewhere, but really it wouldn't beat against anything anyway. So mainly I got this grease. You don't use oil. I got this corn head grease in here, and it's supposed to be thick most of the time. Then when you're using it, it thins up a little bit so that you can for better lubrication. So it's not supposed to leak out. So this, let me push this because it's still. I gotta have two hands or something put there. It's still a little bit hard to move this, but I can't do it. I could do it easily with two hands. I think it's all right. See, now right there it hits kind of a hard spot. Right there it hits a hard spot. I wonder if I got something assembled incorrectly. I'm disinclined to take it apart at this point. I kind of don't think, frankly, I've got anything incorrect. It's kind of a little hard all the way. So anyway, I'm going to put it back together. Put a little more. I'll probably put a little more grease in there, but I can add grease at the zerks. There's zerks here, and then it flows here. This area was packed with grease when I took it apart, so I can add more grease after I'm done. But I'll squirt a little more in. Torquing them all to 8 foot-pounds, which isn't very much, of course, but. And you know, you're supposed to do cross back and forth and this and that. But I say just Do every one a little bit. Little bit, little bit, little bit. That's what I've been doing. Start with your hand and get a little tighter all the time as you go around. And get every one, don't miss one. So I put it back together. I was putting that wheel on. I did put the wheel on. And then it wouldn't turn. I was thinking, oh, I did something wrong. And I took it all back apart, but I realized it's the brake. The way this is set up, it's like if you're not doing anything, it's a spring-loaded brake. You have to release the brake to do something, like a truck. But I also had found in the meanwhile that that O-ring was supposed to go there. Which I had that O-ring left over, so I went ahead and put in on. Then I had to take the brake all the way apart because those pads fall off. I guess I've got that on right. I don't know. And but anyway, so now I'm going to put it back together again. It happens pretty frequently. Incidentally, when you're putting bolts like this in, you want to turn them backwards until you feel the click where you got a thread, and then so you don't cross thread them. Turn them backwards, click, and then go, and you can feel the threads engage. So I mentioned how the that part isn't exactly the same, it's taller. And this is the thing that has to hook up to it. And there's a bar. See if I can, I don't know, this isn't going to work. Yeah, let's do it like this. So there's a bar, I got to put the other end. There. There's a bar in the mower. It's right there like that. So I think it's you know what I mean, if this thing fits on the stud and it's just underneath the bar like that, and you know, I was thinking I could lower the transmission, put some washers in it and lower it a little bit like this, but I think I'm just going to take this, my little torch right here, and bend this thing. It's currently bent in the wrong direction, just a little bit. You could just see a little bit how it's bent. Put it on that thing that's straight. So I'm just going to bend it a little bit in the other direction so that it'll tend to go down a little bit under that bar. It'll kind of reach up a little bit to grab the stud. Similar to this, except I don't want that much because I don't want it to, you know, start hitting like this. I think but it's here anyway. I think it would almost work without doing this, but I think if I just bend this just a tiny bit, as you see it's bent in the wrong way. I'm going to bend it the opposite way, a little bit more than this is my plan. And then I think it'll work. Might not need to make it red. And I'm not an expert on how to use a torch either, but this is one of the simpler things to do. Generally speaking, steel is pretty darn hard to bend when it's not hot. Let's get it hot, it'll bend rather nicely, behaving the way you want it to. I think I'm going to try it like that. Let's see if it'll go. Let's see it. It's glowing a little bit. It's hard to see it, but in the darkness you can see it better. Yeah, I think that's about what I want. Maybe I probably should switch this vice grips to the other side. Let me clamp this too. Clamp it right there, where I want it. And switch the vice grips to the other side. Here, I think I got it now. Yeah, just a little bend. That should do it. It probably won't matter if it's a little bit, I'm going to drip a little water on it. There's, now it's already cooled quite a bit, so it's not too soft. It hasn't really cooled. Drip it on the other side. Yeah, that should do it. I decided to go ahead and put 3 washers in here where the transmission hangs, and the way it's configured, I don't think it'll cause any problems at all as far as stress. And because something was impinging this, and there's that bar, and there's my thing, and then the bar, and then this was impinging right there. But I probably just needed to push it farther beyond. So I still have to put the lid on here. I'm going to put this guard on. I don't know, I might make a couple of adjustments before I do, but I can't wait to find out if the tranny works. Alright, the fuel tank's almost full now. Let's see if that made a difference. I poured a little fuel in the carburetor. I actually didn't have the belt routed correctly. Let's try it again. See if it'll start this time. I don't understand it. It acted like it didn't want to shift when it was running. Then I shut it off and I could shift it fairly easily. That's really the crucial thing, the crucial link. It should shift easily with new grease and all. Alright, let's call the hired hand and see if it can mow. was pretty good. It's a 10 horsepower motor.